Capitalist Death Parade! Capitalist Death Parade! Capitalist Death Parade!
With your hosts, Joy Marie Mann and Josh Radio Hedge, a podcast where we discuss the dystopian hellscape of capitalism that we call home. Welcome to the Capitalist Death Parade with your hosts, Joy Marie Mann and Josh Radio Hedge, a podcast where we discuss the dystopian hellscape of capitalism that we call home. Hey everybody, welcome to the Capitalist Death Parade. I am Josh Radio Hedge.
And I am Joy Marie Mann.
Hey, how's it going out there, y'all?
Hey, another wonderful week in this wonderful world.
It's been an exciting one. There's been some pretty wild changes to the political landscape in just 7 days.
Yes, it's always so difficult, and that's why I like that we do this too, because with my other shows, I cover certain things, and so much happens in a week. So then now is another opportunity to cover things I haven't gotten to during the rest of the week. But yeah, and it's always good to have a different take as well. Discourse is definitely good. We had some big news today. As a Pennsylvanian, I was one of the people just completely going batshit about the possibility of Shapiro being VP, and that is because he is my governor, and it's not just about Palestine. He is trash in every way, shape, or form. We've protested him forever for things like environment and school vouchers and all kinds of shit. It's not just Palestine, but that is of course the worst. He has called those of us protesters, he has compared us to the KKK. He created the Stand with Israel Act, which punishes schools who divest by taking away all their funding. You name it. I mean, he's racist, Islamophobe, the list goes on. So I quite honestly, I felt like 100-pound weight was lifted off my chest when I
honestly, I'm impressed you didn't even mention the sexual assault thing that he.
Oh yeah,
But,
I mean, isn't that kind of like everyone?
Yeah. It feels like it. Basically,
everyone.
You're a Republican or you're a Democrat. There's a good chance there's a number of skeletons in your closet. And for him, he paid off one of his, aides in a sexual assault case. So paid them off to have that put to rest. And it's like, yeah, if I were Kamala Harris, I wouldn't want that skeleton being trotted out when I'm trying to run for president. So I
it doesn't matter because she's done it multiple times herself.
Which one?
Paying off sexual assault by people.
Are you kidding? I didn't even know about that.
Oh yeah.
No, Kamala's
Oh yeah. I talked about that back in 2019, and then I dug up the old articles and stuff and did a side by side.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Furthermore, she also, despite the victims begging her, she also kept the names private of 85 priests who were sexually assaulting little children.
Yeah.
They begged her to release the names. She refused and had them sealed. So they continued to do what they do.
Yep. That's really unfortunate. Now I knew about the priest thing. I didn't know she had skeletons in her closet. That's fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, it makes her more exciting, in my opinion. Now, she seems so just boring, but now I'm like, ooh, I'm imagining, what kind of weird collection of whips she has. Who knows?
No, it wasn't her. It was her aides. Like her aides doing the essay.
Oh no.
Yeah, it wasn't her.
Oh, I thought it was her. Okay.
No, that would be interesting. That would definitely be kind of interesting.
Well, you don't get enough women sexually assaulting men in positions of power. That's just not, it's not nearly as cool in our society for some reason. But
It's kind
I'm
of
saying
not,
maybe it's
none
time.
of it's cool though.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
All sexual assault is wrong, but it is kind of weird when it's on the other foot. Suddenly it's just like, oh, you don't ever hear about that. At least not nearly as often.
I don't know. I mean, I think there really are so many similarities between them. And, while I was very relieved to, not have Shapiro, I am, pretty much no short of disgusted by the reaction to Walz. He, first of all, everyone jumping out and saying he's pro-Palestine before knowing anything about him and doing any research whatsoever. I don't know why we've been in the fucking streets for 10 months if we're just going to call someone pro-Palestine because he simply said the uncommitted voters deserve to be heard. That's called democracy. That's not called fucking pro-Palestine. So before we actually label someone with that significant and profound of a label, can we maybe vet them? Can we maybe say, maybe someone who's really pro-Palestine wouldn't fucking run with someone who has committed a fucking genocide for the past 10 months? Just an idea. So, and I'm seeing all these people, like even people I've fucking marched with, people I've met in DC, all these people who have been screaming Genocide Joe and shit like that. And they're coming out like, oh, it's great to see she picked a pro-Palestine person. Excuse me. Hold up. Hold the fuck up. And then it didn't take but an hour until pictures of him with Bibi Netanyahu come out. Until quotes of him come out of saying some nasty ass shit, just some gross shit. He's spoken at AIPAC multiple times. Here's a quote from an article that was talking about what it means for the pro-Palestine movement that Walz is the pick. And this part is particularly important for people to know. There's two parts. In the month of October, he demanded that Minnesota and that all of Minnesota do the flags half-mast for Israel, the Minnesota flags and U.S. flags for Israel for a week. That was like necessary to him. Now also this one statement really fucking bothers me. He said, this article says, like most other Democrats, because that excuses it, Walz has long been a supporter of Israel. When he served in the House from 2007 to 2019, he frequently took pro-Israel votes, including voting to condemn a United Nations resolution affirming that Israel settlements in the West Bank are illegal.
Which they are, and we all know.
And he voted to condemn that statement.
Well, yeah, I mean, the people that sign his checks told him to, and that's kind of how IPAC works. I mean, that's why I don't have nearly as much excitement and faith as everybody who wants to jump on the Walz bandwagon. Now, I'll tell you this. Of the 6 people that she was supposedly vetting, they're none of them good on Palestine. Some of them incredibly bad on Palestine, Shapiro being, notable. He's the least worst of the 6, but he's still pretty bad. And I've got some quotes here too, if you want to hear some on my end.
Yes, please do.
So I got a quote. This is from Mark Mellman. He's the chairman of the Democratic Majority for Israel's Super PAC, and he praised Harris's selection of Walz in a statement, called him a proud pro-Israel Democrat with a strong record of supporting the U.S.-Israel relationship. Now, this is basically like an offshoot of AIPAC, like yet another PAC. And for them to just be like, oh yeah, he's absolutely with us. Well, that doesn't strike me as great, because I want them to be like, well, we were with him, but then he said XYZ. I'm still waiting on XYZ. I then have another quote here from, this is from Elaine Farhat. She's a senior advisor for the Uncommitted Movement. She said in a statement on Tuesday that Walz has demonstrated a remarkable ability to evolve as a public leader, pointing to his evolution on gun rights. So she's given him credit ahead of time. She says, now, while his past positions as a congressman may have conflicted with anti-war voters, we hope that he can evolve on the issue as he has on other issues, such as shifting from an A to F rating from the NRA. As Harris's vice presidential pick, it's crucial he continues this evolution by supporting an arms embargo on Israel's war and occupation against Palestinians in an effort to unite our party to defeat authoritarianism in the fall. Now, what she's doing, obviously, is she's like, yeah, I support you, just, noting that you go this route. So once he doesn't, you're going to lose people from like the Uncommitted Movement, which literally the only reason Kamala is now up 11 points in Michigan is because there's this belief that she's going to be, supportive of the Palestinian people. And we don't know. We really don't know yet. I'm still waiting on some kind of action from either of them.
Do you really... Wait, I'm confused. Do you really think that there's a possibility she's just going to like magically change?
Here's where I'm at. No, I don't think she will. Absolutely do not. But even just rhetoric at this point would be important for trying to change the temperature of the way things are going. If you have to then have the conversation of one candidate saying, this is a genocide and we have to cut off weapons, even if they don't mean it, even if they never do one thing about it, it then forces the other side of the argument, which is a bunch of Democrats and a bunch of Republicans, and they have to now, on their back foot, try to push back on why endless warfare and slaughtering of innocent civilians is good. And so it pushes the conversation towards a peace negotiation, towards a ceasefire. It's not a ceasefire, and it's definitely not a cutting off of the weapons when, again, it's just rhetoric at this point, and it won't be more until end of January next year.
I actually completely disagree. I think that, especially like she's never going to say the word genocide, like ever. It's not going to happen.
Some of us are hoping.
Never. But, even on the little, breadcrumbs and stuff, I think all that does is damper the movement by making people complacent that they don't have to fight as hard. Because, well, do we really have to keep getting out in the streets by the millions? Because Kamala might win, and she is kind of, she's not, she did say the word ceasefire, and that's what's happening today. And I find it absolutely fucking terrifying because I can already see people relenting. And that is extremely bothersome. When Biden was running, we knew Genocide Joe and then Kamala, Killer Kamala. Oh, wait, now, well, she's not as genocidal. So there are no levels. There are no degrees. She's fucking genocidal. And that makes him genocidal by running with her and by speaking at AIPAC and by posing for buddy-buddy pictures with Netanyahu. They can say whatever they want. Number one, it's not going to mean shit. And number two, it's only going to comfort people that they can relax. And that would be the absolute worst possible thing. Because we need to think about Black Lives Matter. These, we were in the streets every fucking day, all over the country, nonstop for over a year. And then what happened? Democrats got in the White House.
Yep.
It stopped.
100,000 new officers on the streets across the country. Huge funding boom. Zero defunding of any police department or even reallocating of funds in any department across the country. Zero. Now ask, Trump or the Republicans, and they'll be like, they defunded the police. They did.
Yeah.
God, I want to live in the Republicans' imagination world. God, I want to live there.
Oh, I do too. I mean, every day they have like commercials that are like, Kamala is a socialist and communist and the far left. And I'm just like, dude, like, stop tempting me. Like,
it's like, we wish, please.
Right? Like, holy shit. If you think that is, I don't know what the fuck you think of me. If you think that's like communist and shit, like, oh shit. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I am absolutely terrified by the way people have, just are very much complacent. Today is really showing. I'm seeing words being used in past tense. This one group who was doing the petition to stop genocide Josh, which is Shapiro, came out with a completely Dem bootlicking type thing, like the second he announced, and it opened with, we have to do everything we can to stop Trump. And I'm like, okay, he's still our governor, and he's still trash, and he's still a Zionist, and we still need to protest him, and we still need to do stuff to him, like, show up at his governor mansion when he has these fucking, fundraisers for fucking Lockheed Martin and shit like he does. Like, this isn't over. And it was very much like, I am so glad Kamala picked him and blah, 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 and all this shit. But what really upset me the most was that there was a statement in there that said, we hope that all of the people who stood with pro-Palestine activists, not stand, stood. That is not an accident. They're giving up. That was they said the quiet part out loud. They might not even realize they're using that verbiage, but they're relenting.
Yeah. We
cannot do that. The establishment is fucking orgasming right now by seeing these pro-Palestine. Like, I have a guy coming at me right now with a fucking Palestine flag and a watermelon in his bio, coming at me because I say that I'm not voting for them. Are you kidding me? How? What? Like, if you vote for whoever you want, but like, you're vote shaming people with a fucking Palestinian flag and watermelon, and you're shaming people for not voting for genocide. What the fuck is going on?
Well, it's definitely how everything has been like shifted narratively, just in the viewpoint of it. They're trying to change it from like honestly, I think it's brilliant on the part of the Democrats, which is why I'm so shocked that they're doing it so well. Like shifting all of the genocide blame onto Joe Biden, like a snake shedding its skin, even though we know that they all have received, in Kamala's case, over $6 million from AIPAC. I don't know the full number yet from Tim Walz, but we know a bunch because he's spoken at AIPAC numerous times. But it's pretty wild.
Well, to be clear, I have not found any info showing he has received money. I think it's probably a safe bet, but I do want to be clear. I know he has spoken there, but I do not at this point have receipts saying he has received money.
That's fair. I just figured it seems obvious if you've spoken, but I hadn't been able to track that down yet, but I ran out of time.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, it's certainly feasible considering he spoke there, but, even if it was so-called just speaking there, he can still eat a bag of dicks.
Well, I want to read you one last quote, and this one is from the horse's mouth. This is from Tim Walz, and this was the one that just kind of left me, I don't know, lukewarm. I just didn't care for it because it feels like politicians speak, just meaningless. He said, "You can hold competing things, that Israel has a right to defend itself and the atrocities of October 7th are unacceptable, but Palestinian civilians being caught in this has to end. This issue is a humanitarian crisis. And and this is what he said about the protesters. He said the issue is a humanitarian crisis and the protesters have every right to be heard. So again, compare those statements. He's saying, we gotta end this. Okay. That's all he's saying. And then he says, it's a humanitarian crisis, but protesters have a right to be heard. All you're saying is just like the go-to thing that everyone's saying. Like you can go to Donald Trump or you can go to Kamala Harris and you'll hear them say, we have to end this because that's where the American people are. So they have to sell that while also simultaneously doing nothing to stop it.
Well, yeah, I mean, and when, our movement protests, politicians, there's those politicians who are like, that's okay, everyone. They have a right to protest. And, it's just like, oh my God, shut up. You don't really believe that. Shut up.
All right. So are you ready for some bad news that you don't want to hear?
Wait, it's more bad news?
Right. So you were talking about how the establishment's all getting in line for Kamala and Tim Walz. Well, I tell you, the left is falling in line, and it's freaking me out because I don't even understand some of the swaps. I'm going to give you the first one here that absolutely blew my mind. Did you get the campaign donation letter from Nina Turner today?
Excuse me?
I know. So I'm going to read it to you. You ready for this? I know. Get ready. Hello, somebody. The selection of Governor Tim Walz as vice presidential nominee presents an enormous opportunity to keep the energy and momentum going with a policy platform that truly centers the working class, prioritizes a Black agenda, and moves towards a humanitarian position on Gaza. This is a pivotal moment for our movement and for the future of our nation. The Harris-Walz ticket has a historic opportunity to adopt policies that focus on the needs of the working class. We can address economic inequality, ensure fair wages, health care for all, and robust labor rights. This ticket has the potential to build and strengthen a broad, inclusive coalition by advancing these critical issues. This is our chance to create lasting change and build a future where everyone can thrive. Now, at this point, I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on? Did I get brainworms? Have I lost my mind? Why am I reading this from Nina Turner? Then at the bottom, it says, donate now. And it says, I hope that the campaign seizes this opportunity to grow the work of building a powerful, united movement for change. Your support and dedication have been instrumental. And basically what it's saying is donate not to the Democratic Party, but to the We Are Somebody group that is currently doing grassroots work for the Harris-Walz campaign. So, yeah, I just got that a little bit ago.
Wow.
I know. When I read this, I'm just like, what? So I wanted to tell myself maybe she's just trying to ride on them to get money for her PAC or whatever, but I just don't understand. Like, especially the parts about, a humanitarian position on Gaza. It's like we haven't had a humanitarian position on Gaza in, I don't know, the 17 years that Gaza's been there. After Israel pulled out of it, it's just like, quote unquote, pulled out. I don't know. That shocked the hell out of me. Another one is Hassan Piker, who is, as pro-Palestinian as they come, raised millions of dollars for these pro-Palestinian charities. He says that he's on board with Tim Walz, and he said if she picked Tim Walz, he'd back her, and she did. So I couldn't believe that he's on board. I don't know. I've just been kind of mind blown because I'm still waiting for the thing that everybody's all excited about, which is the proof that they're doing anything to stand up for the Palestinian people beyond us just all jumping to the assumption that they are.
I think what bothers me the most about this Nina shit is that I was on her podcast called Hello Somebody, and I'm like, now I don't want to be fucking associated with that. But also, Pat and I wrote a really fucking good book a really good shitlib parody book. And we made her the fucking Shiro in it. So now our book needs to be re-fucking written. Like, I'm so dead serious. It needs to be re-fucking written and take her the fuck out of it.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked by this. I mean, again, this is the part that I don't get. I think I mentioned this last week, how I had somebody who was like writing me about, well, why won't the left do what here in America, do what the left's doing in other countries where we all unite together to take down fascism? And I'm like, well, the problem is the left in other countries is being shared the power. Like, they're sharing the power with them and giving them the things that they ask for. We're not. And that's why when I see stuff like Nina going over for them, it's like, but why? Like, what have they done for any of our causes? Or I mean, I'm even waiting for like the what do you call it? Just lie to me even. You know, I'm waiting for the lies. I just don't see this giant left circling around Kamala thing, because she's not a leftist. She's a
no. I mean, but Nina's not either. I mean, she's been showing herself for a couple of years now. But I mean, you know, like, oh, I have, you know, my personal beef with her and stuff, like behind the scenes shit. But you know, this is just gross, and I think, you know, it's just important for us to keep in mind that she did get her start working for the DNC. We need to remember that.
Well, I mean, a lot of folks do. I you know, I was actually just having a conversation today with my partner about that, about how I miss the old days where it's like, to get into government, you had to kind of like spend time in government so you knew how it worked, and you couldn't just be a celebrity with zero experience. Well, I guess, you know, you get what you asked for, because that's AOC, that's Nina, that's a few people. That's how they get started, is you start out, you know, being pages and being assistants and aides and stuff, and you just work your way up. Ugh. I hate this. That's why I have no desire to get into politics personally, because I hate it that you have to play the game if you want to be in the game. And it's like, it's the grossest game. It's basically like, it's like mud wrestling with dog shit, and you'd voluntarily get in the ring. It's like, nah, I'm good.
I'd rather be in dog shit than vote for them.
I'm mind blown. And like I said, I'm still open. I told you this last week. If Kamala and Tim can switch bandwagons, I will at least be, you know, I'm not going to try to tear them down if they can at least talk a big game of peace, because that still pushes the pressure on Netanyahu, even if it's only visual pressure. I know behind the scenes they're all kissing his ass, but God damn it, the whole world is calling for this. And I'm concerned. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the news recently of all the countries that Israel is currently striking out against, like 4 different nations at once, bombing their people in their capital cities.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get dragged into all this. We just sent out a huge aircraft carrier with 4,000 troops out to the Middle East to monitor this crap. I don't know. We need, even talk of peace is better than where we're currently headed, is where I'm at. And I would love for either Kamala or Tim to come forward and just be like, we're cutting off the funding on day one. If either of them said that, even though I know it's a lie, it will change the conversation for the world, because now there will only be really one side of America pushing for this endless genocide, and that'll be Trump, and he'll have to defend that crap. And personally, since Trump likes to play himself as an anti-war person, despite the fact that he's assassinated American citizens in foreign countries, he plays that role, though. He says, oh, I'm anti-war. So that'll force him to now have to talk peace, even if he doesn't mean it. I just want the conversation to change so that the world can stop like cowering to America's like just endless saber rattling, you know?
I actually think them talking about peace, you know, is, since we know it's bullshit, it will actually make things worse, because it'll make people like me even more pissed. that not only are they not doing it, they're lying about it. And then things are going to get really fucking ugly at our protests.
Yeah. I just pray that they at least, even if it's just words, I just want the words. At this point, I just want to hear the people in charge or angling to be in charge say, end the fucking genocide. It's what 82% of the voting Democratic base is calling for. I mean, what more do they need? That's why I'm just amazed at how well they're pulling this off by like waving these flags and getting everybody in line. But again, these flags are like these amorphous shapes, like they're like Rorschach tests, and whatever you want to see in them, you see in them. But they're not actually they're not doing anything yet. I'm still waiting for actual substantive statements. So that's where I'm.
Well, I think part of the problem is we're getting kind of down to the wire. It's elections 3 months away. The DNC is this month, and people are feeling that like anxiety and that, vote shaming fatigue and all that shit. So I think, this was a very interesting election. It was not typical, but it was typical in the sense that she was selected and not elected. But it was interesting to have a nominee like drop out 3 months beforehand and stuff.
Oh, it's exciting as hell. I mean, entertaining, if nothing else.
Yeah, seriously. Bananas.
Feels like some soap opera bullshit, but I love it.
You said you had a different topic you wanted to talk about.
All right, I want to the picture that you'll see if you'll see the episode card this week. It's a picture of RFK Jr., presidential nominee RFK Jr., and he's pretending to be attacked by a bear. And I cannot wait because apparently you missed this story, and I am so excited to tell you the political shit show maybe of all time, this story. So I'm gonna read you some segments here, okay?
Yeah.
So Kennedy posted a video like 3 days ago or 2 days ago of a confession on his X account. I guess this was Sunday, so 2 days ago. And in this 3-minute video, the independent presidential candidate tells comedian Roseanne Barr. So you should look this video up. I'm going to put a link in the notes for this episode. But he's on Roseanne Barr's like podcast or something, and he's having a conversation with her. Anyways, he gives the details of his encounter with a black bear cub. Kennedy says he was driving upstate when a van in front of him struck a black bear cub in the road and killed it. And now we're into the quotes here. I don't want to do Kennedy's gross voice because it makes my stomach churn when I hear it. So instead, I'm going to try to do like an impersonation of a famous celebrity here. Let's see what I can do. So I pulled over, picked up the bear, and I put him in the back of my van. I was going to skin the bear. It was in very good condition, and I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator.
What?
Wait, there's more. Instead, Kennedy says, he continued with his plans for the day, which included a lengthy falconry outing near Goshen in upstate New York, followed by a steak dinner at a well-known restaurant in Brooklyn. We were out falconing, Kennedy said, and I had the bear in my car, Kennedy told Barr as she calmly sipped from a mug. He says, we had a really good day, and we went late. We were catching a lot of game. People loved it, so we stayed late. And then Kennedy explains. Here we go. Kennedy explains how he was crunched for time, and he had to go straight from hunting to New York City to get to Peter Luger Steakhouse for a dinner he was doing. And then the dead cub is still in his vehicle. Now he says, at the end of dinner, it went late. I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport, Kennedy said, and I didn't want to leave the bear in my car because that would be bad. All right, here we go. Now, at this point, Kennedy claims that he channeled his inner redneck and he hatched a plan. Bike lanes had recently been installed throughout New York City. This was 10 years ago. I don't know if I mentioned this. This was 10 years ago. Bike lanes had been installed throughout New York City, and bike accidents were becoming prominent in the news. A couple of people had gotten killed, and it was every day that people had been badly injured. Every day it was in the press, Kennedy said. I wasn't drinking, of course, but the people were drinking with me, and they thought this was a good idea. So get this. Kennedy then used an old bicycle that was also somehow in his car to stage an accident in Central Park. We'll make it look like he got hit.
What?
I know your brain is melting out of your ears right now, and I understand. Mine was when I read this. I fell out of my chair. This makes no sense. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So, anyways, Kennedy uses the old bicycle that was in his car to stage an accident in Central Park. We'll make it look like he got hit by the bike, Kennedy said. It'll be funny for people. Okay. So ultimately, he then blames the New Yorker. He said this would have been forgotten about entirely. But 10 years later, the New Yorker calls him up and they're like, do you have any comments on this story about you staging a fake crime scene to ditch the corpse of a bear that you wanted to eat in Central Park? And so Kennedy, the genius, he's like, they think they'll scoop me, haha. And so he releases this video the night before the New Yorker releases their article, okay, to try to scoop them. And then the Twitter post that he makes, he says something along, I'm paraphrasing, but he says something along the lines of, okay, let's see how you spin this one, New Yorker. And it's like, spin what? You just laid it all out. There's nothing to spin. You just admitted to multiple crimes, and the weirdest kind of crimes I've ever heard. Like the fact that he finds roadkill and he thinks, God, that's going to be delicious. I'm going to put this roadkill in my fucking fridge at home.
But I'm still not understanding the crime scene. Like, was he trying to make it look like the bear was riding a bike?
No.
And it had an accident.
He was trying to make it look like someone riding a bike hit and killed the bear and then ditched the broken bike and ran away.
Oh my God, I can't.
I know. Okay, so now here's where it gets even freakier. And this is where
No, that's not possible.
We're getting into conspiracy realms now. Get ready for this. So I looked up some of these old news videos because apparently this was huge news 10 years ago because it's not every day that a dead bear cub under a fucking mangled bike you find in Central Park. So there was news stories that went nationwide 10 years ago about this. And in one of the news stories, I'm watching it, the news reporter says that the cops are going to be dusting the bike for prints because like this bear has been harmed. They said that the bear had multiple cuts and stab wounds.
What?
So
but it was hit by a car.
Yeah. So, but this is the thing. So then I'm all like, okay, so why is again the New Yorker basically just kind of backs the same angle that he comes at. But then I'm like, so what's up with this bear having stab wounds, and why would he do any of this to begin with? It all sounds insane. So this is where I get to what I think needs to be done. Now, I'm not going to do this because I have a life and I can't do this, but there needs to be a true crime podcast that is built to discovering the mystery of what the fuck actually happened with Kennedy and this bear. Because, okay, stab wounds, but I'm like, no. For him to have this whole story ready to roll, he's leaving details out. And I know you don't want to hear this, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on a podcast, so I'm going to bleep myself slightly, but I'm about 98% sure that Kennedy boinked that bear. I'm just going to say
look,
it.
I was just going to say, what's that movie that I think it was Leonardo? Something happened with someone. I don't remember. I heard about it. But, and as far as the knife wounds and stuff, you know what if Kennedy was already trying to take that damn meat in the back of his car?
Well, if nothing else, this right here validates everything that RFK Jr. has said himself about getting brainworms. Of course he got brainworms. He's eating roadkill. I mean, that's literally like the home of brainworms.
It's true. Very true. I've never heard of someone eating bear. I'm sure it's done, but I don't know, man.
I don't know. It's just like I've heard some wacky stuff about different candidates over the years, and there's some wacky stuff to be sure. But my God, who sees a dead bear and is immediately like a slobbering cartoon character? Like, oh, I'm gonna eat that dead bear.
And the fact that he's like, I challenge my inner redneck. That is totally a play on JD Vance. 100%.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh my God.
Anyways, I just had to share that madness with you because it's truly, in my opinion, one of the greatest political. It sounds like something out of a Hunter S. Thompson novel, not the backstory of RFK Jr. presidential nominee. And I just don't know what else to say about it other than that.
But, and I digress, but I still don't understand. Well, I don't understand why he has any supporters to begin with, because he's a damn weirdo. But anyway, I don't understand why people are still supporting him when he literally has a recording stating that if Trump asked him to drop out, he would. So why? Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why you would want to vote for someone who is open to not running.
Yeah, and to throwing it to one of the other two people that you've been claiming that you're never this person and that you're running to save America from them. It's pretty wild stuff.
Well, did you ever see the old JD Vance clips about how he compares Trump to Satan and shit?
Oh, and Hitler even. He called him Hitler.
Hitler, yeah.
I mean, wow, what a difference 3 years makes.
Yeah. Seriously. Wow.
Trump's like Hitler 3 years later. Trump's like my best friend.
I want to go down in history as being BFFs. Hitler could have changed. Come on, guys. You don't know. Well, speaking of VPs, also, I digress yet again, but Thursday, we'll probably be uploading this tomorrow, so Wednesday. But Thursday, Jill is coming out with her VPs, and she's got 3. She gave us all a tease of 3 choices that it will be from. Jackie Lookman, who is a journalist, and, I've played her stuff on here before. A Palestinian gentleman who is an activist. I forget his name, unfortunately. And then a gentleman who is the head of an Arab organization. I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately, but I looked up I already know who Jackie is, but I looked up the 2 gentlemen, and honestly, I think whoever she picks, it's going to be epic. It's going to be really great.
I'm excited. I am actually very excited to find out who she's going to pick. Did Sherry just Hankala not put her name in the hat this time around, or
do what?
One of her previous VP candidates, Sherry Hankala, I really dug her back.
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't heard anything from her. Like she's not even very active online.
Huh. Well, maybe she's just stepped away. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of don't really blame her. She's been through it.
Yeah.
No doubt. Here.
Yeah.
And then you had one other story you wanted to get into.
Yeah, just real quick, because I found it to be absolutely hilarious. So, Kyle Rittenhouse, everybody's favorite hometown murderer, who showed up to flash around his big fancy assault rifle at a BLM protest and basically antagonize people. And somebody throws a plastic empty bottle at him, and he just lights everybody up, kills 2 people, wounds another person, permanent wounding of they lose control of their arm. I mean, awful stuff. And again, all these people were trying to do was stop this guy who's shooting everybody. So anyways, he becomes a national hero after being found innocent because he was just defending himself from a plastic bottle or whatever. And anyways, he posts a post about how he's, tired of Trump's anti-gun stances. And he's basically makes it clear that, I'm not going to be voting for Trump if he doesn't back, endless the removal of all gun regulation, basically. And he posts this. And so people immediately start losing their minds. And so then he posts a video to clarify. And I swear to God, this video is amazing because he's like, I'm voting for Ron Paul because Ron Paul believes in actual gun rights and the Second Amendment. And I'm sorry, but, you can't change my mind. I'm not backing down. So he posts this 2 hours after he makes the original post.
Ron Paul? What? For what?
Because Ron Paul is like some sort of like, I don't know, constitutional.
No, but he's not running for fucking president.
Well, he said he's going to write him in.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And so, anyways, he says this, and then he makes the video backing it up, saying, you can't change my mind. I'm locked on this. I will not be moved from my position. He posts this video. Oh my God, the MAGA verse erupts on Kyle Rittenhouse. And it goes beyond just like everybody saying, I'm blocking you, I'm banning you, I'm done with you, you're dead to me. Endless hate, threats, endless. But where it gets so sweet is a few hours into this madness, QAnon decides to join in and pile on to Kyle Rittenhouse. And the shit that QAnon comes up with is some of the funniest stuff I've ever heard. So the far-right group, I'm going to read you a little quote from an article. The far-right group QAnon said that Kyle Rittenhouse was secretly a transgender psyop and crisis actor from the Sandy Hook shooting. So now here, I wish you could see some of these pictures. They're out of this world. They're literally like zooming into photos of Kyle Rittenhouse's crotch and being like, does this look like a camel toe to you? I don't see any bulge. He must be a woman. I swear to God, like hundreds of these crazy posts of all these people like pouring over Kyle Rittenhouse's crotch.
Wow.
The murderer, Kyle Rittenhouse. And then beyond that, they also said that Kyle Rittenhouse was one of the child crisis actors that was killed in Sandy Hook. Of course, we'll note that those were real kids in a real fucking shooting, but these people are nuts. They're all locked in the InfoWars brain,
I mean, even if, by them saying that he's like, not credible and a crisis actor and stuff, they're telling on themselves because they're the ones who made him a hero.
I know.
So that means he doesn't investigate.
That's like the weirdest thing. It's like he didn't ask to become their hero. They made him their hero. They said, guy goes with a gun and shoots a bunch of Antifa commies at a BLM protest. He's my hero. So, I mean, I just think it's amazing that they lifted him up on their shoulders. And the moment he's like, actually, Trump's not Second Amendment-y enough for me, then they all throw him under the bus. Well, anyways, 12 hours after his initial post, he then makes a new post after deleting the old posts and says that he spoke with Trump's team and they have assured him that they're the right team for getting gun rights to all Americans and la, la, la. And he immediately sucks that big orange dick all over again. I mean, 12 hours.
Did the Trumpers like say okay, or were they still like, fuck you?
No. All the Trumpers that were like, you're dead to me, and I'm blocking you forever, and I'll never forgive you. They were all like, hey, you're cool with me now, Kyle. Thanks for figuring it out. And it's like, dude, how is this not a freaky cult? Like the fact that like in 12 hours they can just like scream you down from your positions and your beliefs in 12 hours. Like, oh, that's rough. I mean, I get a lot of crap from Democrats for all kinds of things, but I swear I've never heard of the left transvestigating people. So it's and I should state this, I don't feel bad for Kyle Rittenhouse. He deserved every fucking second of every bit of the 12 hours of pain that he got. I only wish that he'd held on to his principles longer so we could have seen more of him being dragged. But,
Wow. That, how is the Onion still in business?
Exactly. Exactly. We are in the Onion verse. We live in satire now. So,
You know what? And I digress, but this was something I wanted to mention if we had time. Okay, so you guys are going to have to look it up, but in Walz's announcement speech today with
yeah.
Kamala, he made a comment about J.D. Vance, and he said, if he can get off his couch, do you see what I did there? And I was like, oh my fucking God. Did he really just, I mean, I look, I kind of appreciated it. I'm not going to lie. Credit
I'm
where
not gonna
credit's
lie.
due.
I got a
It
chuckle
was
out of me
fucking
too.
funny. But at the same time, nothing ever, ever, ever will beat the fellow Minnesotan Amy Klobuchar talking about her hair in a blizzard 18,972 times.
Oh yeah.
Nothing beats that
So
ever.
weird. It reminds me of that scene from Reservoir Dogs where the cop is like rehearsing his story so he seems like a thug 100 times, even though it's like driving him crazy. But it's like he has to keep rehearsing this stupid made up bullshit story because it'll make him relatable to criminals. It's the same kind of thing. It's just like
Yeah.
she was told by some PR group that if you could just tell this story, you're gonna seem relatable, and so she just like over and over and over and over. And it's just like so meaningless.
Well, at least my hair moves in a blizzard. Oh my God. That's so funny. But her, her idiosyncrasies and the way that she would just like go like, and like wait for laughter that never came. I still troll her with that all the time, like 5 years later or whatever. I still put in her comments when she says stupid shit, which is a lot. On Twitter, I just go in her comments and put, but did you say this in a blizzard? It's never going to stop being funny to me.
I love that. Well, hey, we're down to our last 7 minutes. I wanted to mention one last thing. So we like to, as a weekly thing, we have our Grand Marshal of the Capitalist Death Parade, the person that is marching capitalism off the cliff. And I know last week we gave it to Musk, but I feel like an encore after what he pulled today. Did you catch what he did today?
No.
Okay, this is some epic stuff that I still can't even believe is real. Let me pull this back up real quick. So it says here, Elon Musk and his ex, Twitter, filed an antitrust lawsuit against an industry group representing numerous global brands, including the social network's own advertisers, accusing it of conspiring to deprive X of billions of dollars. We tried peace for 2 years. Now it's war, Musk wrote on his social media platform. The antitrust suit filed in Texas federal court accuses the Global Alliance for Responsible Media of colluding to convince brands to limit or remove their advertising from X, which has struggled with declining revenues since Musk bought it in 2022. Now, the thing that I find most incredible about this lawsuit, he's suing his advertisers because they pulled their advertising off of his awful site that he made awful. And they pulled after he told all of his advertisers. Do you remember that interview where when asked about how he felt about advertisers that were pulling out due to the content on his site? And he said, yeah, go fuck yourselves.
Yep.
And then he said it again. And then he said it again.
Yep.
He literally told his advertisers to go fuck themselves, and now he's suing them, saying that they colluded to deny him the money that is rightfully his.
I'm not shocked. I mean, the hubris you have when you are a bajillionaire, I mean, I'm not shocked. It's so gross. But I'm cool with him, but I am definitely at least making Shapiro a co.
Okay. Sounds good. So
They can
let's.
hold hands.
They could do a little hop, skip, and a jump off the cliff together. Aw.
Yes.
That's nice.
Well,
That's nice.
I can envision that with like a little pink heart around their faces and like flowers and yeah. That's
I'm just mind blown by all of it. Anyways, we're at the end of the show, but I just wanted to share that one last thing because I thought that was an incredible amount of hubris to sue your own advertisers. Wow.
I'd say hell yeah. Wow.
When you got infinite money, you got to use that infinite money on infinite lawyers.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Check out my YouTube show. Subscribe to this, but also subscribe to my YouTube show so you can get announcements when I'm going live. Also, like, share, all that fun stuff. Follow me on TikTok. I post a lot of videos on that. I do not post on my YouTube. My Substack, I write articles. My Twitter is @SavageJoyMarie1. Josh, do you want to promote anything?
Yeah, follow me down vacant alleyways. Follow me down rabbit holes. Follow me off the edge of the capitalist cliff. We're having a good time. And follow me. I'm going to be hosting my own show, The Rip and Rant. It's starting actually this week. So I'm finally did enough video editing. I'm ready to let it rip. So
let it rip. That's IT. See, I can't help it. I teased him and thought it sounds like farts. I had to. Like, it does.
Whatever. You're the one who's got the Mick fucking over it profile pic today. So,
dude, will there be farting on your podcast? Tell the people. The people want to know. Thanks again, guys. Much love.
We'll catch you next week here on the Capitalist Death Parade. Peace.